Red team, go! My amp unit, it's time to wake up, get up, and get amplified. You should already be amplified anyway. Hours ago, I put up part 1 of Amped Up with BC Amplified for March 15th, 2023. We talked all about the Bellas officially confirming they're done with the WWE. How did they get to this conclusion? What's potentially next? We talked all about it hours ago. And we also talked the Raw rating for this week. As we get closer to WrestleMania, just over 2 weeks away, why is the rating going dramatically backwards? Losing over 120,000 viewers from just last week. That's not good. That's pretty horrible. BC talks all about it. How did we get to this point? Why did they only pull a 1.7? It's not by coincidence. It's not an accident. It's not a one-time deal. BC talks all about it. So after this one, you're catching part 2 first. Go check out part 1 of Amped Up. It's a double-decker Wednesday, man. It's a massive amplified Wednesday on the channel. 2 back-to-back Amped Up podcasts with your boy, your host, BC Amplified. And in this podcast, part 2, we're going to actually piggyback off the Bella storyline because we have more info. We joked about it in part 1 earlier this morning. Could you imagine the Bella Twins in AEW? They're supposed to be an alternative. People like the Big Show and Mark Henry and Jeff Jarrett and the Bellas. That goes against what AEW was when they were established, right? But now you do have Mark Henry in there. You do have the Big Show. You do have Jeffrey Jarrett. And you could quite possibly, and when I say possibly, I'm saying more realistically by the moment, you're gonna see the Garcia Twins, the Bellas, in All Elite Wrestling. What happens when the laughter stops and they actually show up? I mean, what could diehard AEW fans possibly say? I guess you would have to change course, right? Before you would bash them, and now I guess you're going to say they're legends, and this is going to help AEW, I guess. That's the only thing you can do, right? Because that's what we saw when Big Show got there, and Mark Henry, and Jarrett. But guys, there is a good possibility you're going to see that. We're going to talk all about it, and some of the talent in AEW. The female talent is welcoming them with open arms, giving them giving them their flowers basically on social, and in the process actually going to war with fans over them, possibly going to AEW. We talked earlier about Saraya, formerly known as Paige, going to war with fans just because she sent a message to the Bellas saying, "Welcome to freedom." And fans were like, what the fuck? Why you gotta diss WWE in this like it was a prison, right? Well, now Brittany Baker is the latest one in war with fans because she posted a photo with the Bellas. We're gonna go over all of that coming up, man. And also The Undertaker. My boy JR9 Gaming, my right-hand man on the channel, days ago, I believe. I forgot one. Maybe it was yesterday. We're pumping out these podcasts left and right, these amped ups. Kind of get lost in them. We're pumping out so much in the last 7 days. But recently, my right-hand man on the channel, JR9 Gaming, recommended that I somehow watch the Undertaker Ariel Helwani interview that was done recently. And I'm just getting around to it now because, as I always tell you guys, I'm pretty damn busy. When I have off time, when I have any free time, this is how I spend it. Cutting these podcasts for you guys and giving you guys content. And then I'm out in the world and I'm rocking out, bro. I don't have time to really listen to podcasts ever. I don't have time to watch even my favorite TV shows most of the time, man, unless it's wrestling to do my due diligence, my notes for this podcast. I don't have time, so I had to watch that Undertaker interview in like bits of like 8 to 10 minutes at a time throughout the last couple of days. But I finally watched it, and damn, he is holding nothing back. The dead man is telling you exactly why pro wrestling is dying, or at least is on life support, and he's holding nothing back. It's not just the wrestlers in the locker room, it's the era that we have cultivated. We're going to talk all about it. It is a huge part 2 of Amped Up with BC Amplified. And there's only one way before we get it started. Oh, we're going to talk Kenny Omega too, guys. Kenny Omega is not, what's the best word to use here? He is not beholden to. There you go. There's a word. He's not beholden to AEW. He is not committed to AEW. When asked about what's next for his next contract, where does he go? Sounds like he's leaving the door wide open, whether that's a forbidden door or not. We're going to talk about Kenny Omega's comment as well. There's only one way to start this, and it's unfortunate news. And we got to kind of change. We got to change something real quick, man. Just minutes ago, Aaron Rodgers has declared that he intends to play football for at least one more year, not with the Green Bay Packers. He will be playing with the New York Jets. They're just finalizing the final nickels and dimes, the final compensation in terms of trade and financials. And then Aaron Rodgers will no longer be a Green Bay Packer. He will be a New York Jet. It is a sobering, humbling, sad time if you're a Green Bay Packer fan. And for BC, I can't even. It's like an out-of-body experience that I'm listening to Rodgers speak, and I can't believe it's actually happening. But it's definitely time to move on for all parties. But guys, live on air, before I touch up on any of these subjects, there's something that needs to be done. As much as we'll always have the memories and we'll always put Aaron Rodgers up there with Bart Starr and Brett Favre, and we love the Super Bowl that he helped us get. We can no longer have the jerseys up, man. The set is about to get restructured. We have to officially take it down. He is now a New York Jet, or is going to be any day now. Come on, you got to come down, brother. I know you don't want it. There you go. That's it, guys. Unfortunately, these will get stored away with the Brett Favre jerseys as well. One last time, man. One last time. The number 12s, man. Rodgers, no longer a Green Bay Packer, guys. That's actually really big news. Not even if you're just a Packer fan or a Jet fan. Congratulations to you guys. But if you're just a football fan or a sports fan, you know how big this is, man. Number 12, gone, man. So those are now officially down. We're gonna have to redecorate or some shit, man. I'm gonna, I gotta, I don't know. Maybe we'll go back to the brick wall or something. But the BC's still rocking, man. Chains, bolts. We got to get the barbed wire back up, but we're still rocking with the BC at least, man. I'm not switching over on the teams. We're going to stay tried and true loyal to the Amplified channel, man. All right, guys. So that's the sombering news. Aaron Rodgers no longer with the Green Bay Packers. He is now a Jet. Now let's get into the... I'll start with Kenny Omega real quick because this is a quicker story. Then I'll go into Undertaker, and he's just letting nothing... He's not hiding the fact of how he feels at all, man. When asked about like today's professional wrestler, today's era, today's what's lacking, what is hurting, man, I have a lengthy quote from the Undertaker, man. Oh, it's so damn good. Undertaker also gives us his Mount Rushmore. Been waiting to hear his Mount Rushmore. Wait till you hear it. And he also talks about Vince McMahon, and did he ever really think that he was truly gone? Wait till you hear what he has to say, man. There's a lot to get to. So we'll get to that, and we'll get to the Bellas, some AEW talent welcoming them with open arms, or at least showing their gratitude to them, their thanks for all they've given, and just letting them know, much love over here in AEW. But is that really what AEW was founded upon? The Bellas one day wrestling with them, now in their 40s with kids. I don't know. I'm not saying that's, but Beth Phoenix but Beth Phoenix is a different beast than the Bellas. And there's other people too. Becky Lynch just had a kid, for instance, but I don't know, man. I mean, the Bellas were never like the best wrestlers. So now that you're in your 40s with kids and this is kind of like a more part-time than ever before, is this really what AEW needs? There's so much to talk about, bro. Speaking of AEW, Kenny Omega was asked, what's next? Contracts coming up. We all know that. A little bit of your time was frozen due to injury, so you got to tack on a month or two. But what is next, Ben? Like, can you give us anything? Omega actually did. Listen to this. This is a quote from Kenny Omega. Right now, I'm taking things one step at a time. With this Winnipeg show, it feels like, yeah, this is cool and this feels right. And what's next? I don't know, because nothing has spoken to me. Nothing has told me this is what you need to do. The Spidey sense has not been triggered yet. So again, one day at a time. That speaks volumes. Of course, he's not saying like, oh, I want to give WWE, I want to at least hear their offer. And he will. When his contract is come back, he's going to at least hear the offer. Who knows who will be in that room? Maybe it's H and Vince. Maybe it's H, Cody, and a few others. Not saying that Cody is a suit and tie, but, some people are invited into these meetings. Listen to this, man. Right now with the Winnipeg show, meaning Dynamite and all that, it feels right now with these shows that we're currently doing. What's next? I don't know, because nothing has spoken to me. Nothing has told me this is what you need to do. Nothing in AEW, man. You would think by now, like, he'd be listing off a plethora of reasons of why he could not leave AEW, right? This is too special. He's got such a good thing. I don't know, man. It's going to take a lot to get me out the door. No, bro. He says straight out, nothing has told me that this is what I need to do. You know what I mean? Like, right now, it's one day at a time. Basically, he's telling you I'm listening to anything that's out there. He says the Spidey sense has not been triggered yet. He does not feel one way or the other. He doesn't feel the need to stay with AEW just because he helped create it. I mean, he's looking at one of the boys that was with him when it was created, Cody Rhodes, and that motherfucker's about to collect world gold on the grandest stage of the wrestling world. So clearly Omega knows you can create so much success on the other side. Is the grass greener on the other side? I don't know, man. People like Aaron Rodgers is going to find out a different shade of green when he dons the fucking jet green. And maybe fucking Cody Rhodes right now is obviously, I mean, his grass when he goes out to fucking mow the WWE lawn, it's greener than it's ever been. Way more than his time in AEW and mowing that grass. We understand that. Would Omega's be? It's one thing to be offered a lot, but actually executing it perfectly and the right timing and all of that. Cody Rhodes just has the wrestling gods with him right now. Every decision that dude made has been immaculate. Going to Japan and doing the indie circuit like the way he did it, who he came in contact with at the right time with the Bucks and Omega, coming into contact with Tony, creating AEW, reaching the pinnacles, executive vice president, being the first one to leave and setting the fucking tone and mold for what would that look like if an executive left AEW and went to WWE, and the timing of it all, and getting injured, coming back, winning the Rumble, about to conquer the beast, the mountain, the entity, the conglomerate, the island that is Roman Reigns. He could be looking at that and saying, damn, that's, if anything's going to speak to me, that would be it. But right now, he says the Spidey senses have not been triggered yet, so it's one day at a time. Nothing here is telling me to stay, and I haven't heard anything elsewhere to make me say, hey, let me listen more. Motivated would be a clutch word right now. He needs to be motivated, kind of stimulated onto what to do next, right? I mean, there's a guy who's pretty much done it all. Even helped create a fucking organization. He's training wrestlers or helping them backstage. Big part in the women's division. He's checked off every box, basically, aside from being something big over in the other company, WWE, like conquering some of those grand stages like a SummerSlam or a Rumble or a WrestleMania. You know, he has to see that vision. It's got to be laid out in front of him, kind of. And unless he sees that, you know, he's not going to make a call. You know, so some AEW fans might be a little upset that, oh man, you could have like played it a little bit more close guard, stuck up for AEW a little bit, made it sound like, okay, you're staying more 90% 10, right? You're staying, but you'll see. You know, you'll see. Instead, it's like, no, ain't nothing fucking telling me to do anything right now, man. I'm 50-50 right now. I got one foot out the door, one foot comfortably in here. So that's what I'm reading from this Kenny Omega response. Again, we're not reading too much into it. I mean, the paragraph he gives us is there's literally not one thing keeping him there, and there's not one thing that's making him leave there. It's like he feels indifferent, and it's reminiscent of his booking. It's just been weird. You really thought when AEW started, Kenny Omega was going to be one of just the centerpieces. A few times here and there, he kind of was, but for the most part, odd. He's in a weird tag team for a full year with Hangman Page. He's in a fucking trios team with Young Bucks. Very odd booking for Kenny Omega, man. The whole time, the whole 4-year existence of AEW, Young Bucks, Cody Rhodes, and Omega were just booked so strangely. I really think the EVP title hindered them more than it helped them. I think they felt like they had to book themselves a certain way, couldn't get too much. Maybe they felt they had to help certain people out because of their position. Optics were a lot, so they couldn't have certain things happen because people would go, oh, it's because they're EVP. I think it hurt them more than it helped because they've been booked so strangely. Anyway, that's the Kenny Omega talk. Very interesting response when asked what's next for Kenny Omega. Does Kenny Omega make the switch? Does later this year Kenny Omega go to World Wrestling Entertainment, WWE? Man, could you imagine Omega, Cody Rhodes, one-on-one, SummerSlam? Undertaker. Let's move on to that, bro. We'll be talking Bellas, too, in a little bit, man. Brittany Baker joins the social media feud with fans with Saraya and Paige. I don't even know why they're spending their time arguing with fans online, but this is what they're doing. We'll get to that in a minute or two, or several, because I want to spend a good chunk of time on this, because this is interesting, man. Undertaker, Ariel Helwani interview, asked about what does he feel about today's era, today's locker rooms, today's product. Undertaker has spoken a little about this here and there, and then he usually catches heat, right? Oh, he's bitter. He's an old dinosaur. He's X. He's Y. He's Z. Even Undertaker will call himself a dinosaur. What he will never say is that he's bitter. He loves the business still to this day, and he just wants it to succeed. If people would just listen to him more, the company, the industry, the business as a whole would just be better. We all agree he's the best character ever in the history of ever. So who else to learn from than the best to ever do it? But instead, when he says something that people don't want to hear, he's bitter. He doesn't understand. He's living in the past. But if you listen to his words, no lies detected. Undertaker says, and I quote, Mark Calloway, right? Not even just that, the guy behind the character. Mark Calloway, the Undertaker, says, everybody understands what we do. But at this point, everyone goes out of their way to tell you how. Like Vince used to say, it's an illusion, yes, but you still don't know how it's done. And there's a tendency in this era, with social media and everything, to just give it all up. I still think that people want to believe. They want to be able to get caught up in being in the moment and forget what we're doing is just entertainment. And that's how I approached my character. Is he dead? Is he alive? I do all of these different things. I shoot lightning bolts. And when I was in the ring, when I threw a punch, I wanted people to go, even if they thought it was fake, that punch right there, that was real. Yes, we are entertainment. But I just don't believe that you should give everything away. A lot of our talent, and not just our talent, but talent in general in wrestling today, they don't understand any concept of protecting a character or even developing a character enough to want to protect it. Damn. He says they go and do something on TV, and then you see on their social, they're completely different. Who's been telling you that for years, man? He goes on, I need to say that line again. They go and do something on TV, and then they go to their social, and they're completely different. He says, I mean, come on. Live it a little bit. You don't have to go to the extreme that I did, but just kind of protect it more. He says, just be in real life, just a little bit more off camera what you showed on. If you're gonna post something, at least try and make it match what you're trying to portray. Because that's what you're trying to convince people to believe. I took a lot of heat for what I called the video game era because the boys pay more attention to video games today and not the actual work. But I do enjoy their athleticism. They are all human video games. Bray Wyatt is a throwback. He is really into developing his character, which I appreciate. I enjoy his work, and he understands the storyline aspect better than most. Wow, guys, there is a lot to unpack there. He did not hold back. I remember when he was asked this in the past. Let me just put away the, Rodgers, man. What a sad day, man. We got to pack away all the Rodgers shit, man. Until he's in the Hall of Fame, and then we can start sporting it, right? It's more acceptable. But you can't wear an old player while he's still playing for another team, man. You got to get the new jerseys and all that. But, well, if it's like the WWE Hall of Fame, while he's playing, he'll be fucking inducted like a fucking Rey Mysterio, because that makes sense. Meanwhile, the guy's a full-time roster member. Anyway, there's so much to unpack here, man. Right from let's start from the bottom, actually, when he says, Bray Wyatt is a throwback. He is really into developing his character, which I appreciate. I enjoy his work, and he understands the storyline aspect. He was asked what happened several weeks ago when he was whispering something into Bray's ear when they were in that segment. And he says, well, if I wanted everybody to know, I'd have everybody know. He goes, that stays between us. But yeah, I was telling him how much I admire and I respect what he's doing for the business. It's amazing to see that type of respect from somebody like Mark Calloway, the Undertaker, to Bray. And you guys know on this channel, it's a pro-Bray channel because we respect Bray so much. We see how much his character means to him. And even on social, for the most part, 99.99% like a Clorox wipe, he tries to protect, even online, that character. That's what Bray does. And it should be no coincidence that most of the stuff that Mark Calloway, the Undertaker, says is echoing the same sentiments that BC has already said for 6 fucking years, guys. And that's why we respect somebody like Bray so much. And then you see the vocal minority on like social or on the interweb machine. And everything Bray does, they're throwing like daggers, man. There is such vitriol and hate for Bray Wyatt, supposedly. You ever see these people? I mean, Bray Wyatt is like 30 seconds of a program, right? That's one of the fucking things that most of us that love Bray, we want to see more because his time on these programs is so short. So they take little fucking 30-second, 1-minute fucking segments with Bray Wyatt, and they act like that's the worst part of the show. Of all the things to argue about or yell about or be pissed off about or to hate, or you just can't stand it, it's Bray Wyatt's little 1-minute, 2-minute. Yeah, that screams to me like you're a big fan, actually. You can't get the dude's name out the mouth. It's hilarious that they try to convince themselves that they don't like Bray, but they're the first ones glued to their television sets when this guy's on TV. They don't hate, they appreciate. Sometimes the greatest haters are the biggest fans. They just don't know it or they realize it too much. They don't want to admit that shit. But you see this vocal, and then you see the metrics in Bray's number one and everything. Merchandise sales. He's always, if not number one, close to it. Buzz on social media, always the most buzzed about, and just on the metrics alone. Views like on this platform, always to the top. Ratings, always one of the best rated segments is Bray Wyatt, Wyndham Rotunda. He's always number one. But then this vocal minority is like, he sucks. I hate Supernatural. This is stupid. But you're watching. You want more. You're the one who's got his name in your mouth constantly. Keep hating. His revenue will go up, I assure you. His fucking stock will go up. Controversy creates cash. Hate creates more dimes. And it's no wonder why Undertaker, when asked who does he appreciate so much, man? Who is the guy? And he speaks so highly of Bray Wyatt. In a day and age where Bray Wyatt takes so much heat from fans People like BC Amplified. People like Mark Calloway, The Undertaker. We appreciate real. We appreciate the best. We appreciate those that are trying to keep pro wrestling alive. Where a lot of today's fan just wants to see wrestler A in black trunks and wrestler B in his fucking black underwear, and they just wants to see a 35-minute banger clanger, do sequences and do cool moves. That's what I want to talk about. 5 and 6 and even 7-star matches. And then you wonder why ratings are in the fucking toilet and pro wrestling is on life support because nobody wants to listen to the fucking best characters in the world, like Undertaker. He's bitter. Can we get another 35-minute banger? Can we get some clangers in here? I want to see Meltzer. Can we go to 9 stars on the next Penta match? I'd rather see Garcia versus Wheeler Utah, or maybe Ali versus Drew Gulak. What is up with Cody versus Roman? Give me Ali versus Gulak. Why are we getting Sami Zayn and Roman? This storyline is so good, everyone is saying. Fuck that. I want to see Wheeler Utah and Dan Garcia. I want to see Action Andretti versus Dante Martin. Give him 7.5 stars, Meltzy. I love the respect that Mark Calloway shows for Bray. It allows BC to know, and most of my AMP unit knows how much respect we give to Bray. But even in the unit, you'll see the fucking... I don't know. I don't see him, BC. He's really fucking corny. I don't like the supernatural. Listen, I agree. The booking as of the past 2 months after Rumble, no doubt, could be better. But let's not act like Bray Wyatt's not so special, bro. And for somebody to try to do what Bray's doing in 2023 when it just doesn't fucking work to so many people, supposedly. But it goes back to the start of this whole answer when he says, everybody understands what we do. But at this point, it seems like everybody goes out of their way to tell you how the tricks are being done. He says, there's a tendency, this is a quote from Undertaker, there's a tendency in this era with social media and everything to just give it all up. Like, this era just wants to give it all up. He says, they go and the talent goes and does something on TV, and then you see on their social, they're a completely different person. This is everything that BC has said for the 6 years I've had this channel, or over 5 years at least, that I've had the channel. Or at least been creating content on the channel over 5 years. I've been saying this exact thing, man. One of the things that's ruining wrestling more than anything is the wrestlers themselves. They don't believe in their own character enough that once they're off camera, they go right on fucking social and they start telling everybody what they're having for dinner when they took their fucking nightly shit. What type of eggs they had in the morning. Was it over easy? Was it fucking scrambled? Was it fucking hard boiled? Did they mix it up? Did they have some fruit next to their fucking toast? Hey, this is a picture of my opponent that I just had last night. Now we're going to breakfast together. Nobody cares. I bring up the Eddie Kingston thing, man. He had people thinking for real that him and Claudio Cesaro are really like, there's like tension and beef. The way that Kingston sold that so that whenever they face each other, which is going to be coming up ROH obviously several times, that it's going to be so fucking awesome because you know the history, the story behind it. You know the vitriol between them. And then fucking referee jackass, whatever his name is, maybe it was Bryce, who knows, shows a fucking picture of them at dinner. Referee in the middle, Kingston's to his left, Cesaro, Claudio to his right, and they're all laughing over a steak dinner. Why? Why would you do that, man? Like, at least believe your own shit or else nobody else is going to believe it. There's an old song back in the 80s, video killed the radio star. Well, social media killed the wrestling star. And I know when I say that, that's not the first time I use that line. And then there's people like, nah, Blakely, it's a different day and age. It's not social media. It's how it's being used. I don't give a fuck how you break it down, man. Apples and oranges. I don't give a shit about putting asterisks. The bottom line is, in full, social media killed a lot of things. And I'm not saying there's not some positives to social in the interweb machine, but it absolutely helped destroy because the wrestlers don't know how to use it properly. I always say if you're a young up-and-comer, which there's a lot of them watching this channel, just don't even fucking be on it. You can have an account, whatever. Once in a while, if you really need to promote something, fine. But don't even be on it. Your time could be spent much better doing anything else in the world. At this point, social media is so fucking stupid. You would have a better time, and it would serve you better if you were playing in traffic with 2 thumbs up. All right, hold up. BC's getting amplified now. But the point is, you could think of anything else to do. It would be better. It would serve you more purpose and be better for you, and it would be much more lucrative. It would be better for mind, body, and soul to get off your fucking little interweb machine, man. I don't know why these wrestlers today spend so much time on it and feel like just because the camera's not on or you're not in the ring, that you can just absolutely just destroy everything that we just saw on camera. That you could literally just be like, that's just my character. That's my character, fucking Devastating Deborah. But now I'm just Stacy. Stacy from Illinois. And I'm going to have a steak dinner with my good friend, Brittany Baker. You know, my opponent from last night, who I'm in a fucking feud with the last 2 months. That's not Devastating Deborah. No, it's Stacy. But this Wednesday at 8 p.m., I'll be Devastating Deborah again. What the fuck, man? By the way, if you're a young up-and-coming wrestler watching the channel, do not pick the wrestling name Devastating Deborah, please. That's a horrible name. I'm making a fucking point here, trying to reiterate the same facts that Undertaker is trying to put up there, man. I don't understand why, and it sucks because, like he said, man, he says, I took a lot of heat for what I called the video game era because the boys today pay more attention to video games than the actual work, preparation into their character, and how to make it work, and really portraying that on and off camera. Like they don't even think of that aspect. They just want to play video games during the day, relieve their stress. Mental health is key, and then fucking go wrestle and do all the flips and the dives and all that, and then repeat the process the next day and so on. And he took a lot of heat for that. But this is him doubling down on it and saying that's what I see. You know, you want to play video games, you want to relieve stress, that's fine, man. Maybe an hour, maybe 2, but the whole fucking day he's talking about, I mean, he just sees wrestlers doing that shit, and then he sees them on social after the events, and they're totally they're their real self. And Undertaker's trying to say, just because we know all the tricks now, or most of them, just because nobody else gives a fuck about the character off screen, doesn't mean that you just keep adding fuel to the fire. Like, it seems like today's wrestler is just so excited just to get backstage, get out of the ring, get away from the camera, just to see how everybody felt about their performance, right? Britt Baker has the lights out match with Thunder Rosa. She's in the training room getting like thumbtacks or something taken out of her body, and she looks in the camera and says, "That's gotta be 5 stars by Meltzer, right?" What? That's what you're thinking about? How many stars you just got? About some fucking dude who fucking literally puts stars down for matches? As if anybody gives a fuck. It's insane. That's what they care about today instead of protecting the business, which was the overall initial question that Ariel really asked. How do you feel about the business today and just protecting it? Because you were the one that protected it more than anybody. And he gave such a vivid, valid, no lies detected, onslaught, full throttle, thunderstruck response. And I love what he says when he says that, yes, we are entertainment, but I just don't believe that you should give everything away today. And that's what wrestlers do. They can't wait to get to a podcast, an interview, and just tell all the secrets, man. I'm going to tell you every story. Undertaker waited till he was retired, an older man, to tell his stories from the road. Today, people are fucking coming out of a Wednesday Dynamite or a Monday Night Raw, and the very next day they're doing an interview. Yeah, man. When I worked LA night that night, that was last week, right? Yeah, man. Let me tell you how this match came about. So our agent's coming up. The match booker comes in. H wants to do another, and I'm like, we don't need to know that now. It gives some podcasts like BC's channel and stuff more fucking more things to talk about. But I'll be completely, as I always am with you guys, 1,000,000,000% plus honest with you. I would rather not know all of that and have less to talk about than to actually have that knowledge out there. I would absolutely, one of my, if I had like a wrestling wish, one of 3 wish, one of them I would absolutely use up on bringing back kayfabe more and us knowing less. That's one of my wrestling wishes right there, man. Just, I would take knowing less content for BC is less content, whatever. But just to be able to believe again, to have these wrestlers believe in their own shit enough to protect it enough to allow us to believe in it. But they don't. It's like they care about their socials and online more than anything. And I love how Undertaker says, if you're going to post something, at least try and make it match what you're trying to portray, because that's what you're trying to convince people to believe. I love that. He says, I mean, come on, live it a little bit more. You don't have to go to the extreme that I did, but just kind of protect it more. Protect your character more. It's amazing to me that in today's era, somebody like Bray Wyatt, I understand the booking has not been the best the past couple months, and there's been many booking botches with like the Goldbergs and the Rollins and Hell. I get it. But how he doesn't get more praise, I mean, he should. Instead, so much vitriol. So much fucking, I can't stand this, and then and Bray sucks, and this. Bray is somehow the whipping boy in 2023 when he should be fucking admired more than most. It's where we are with today. It's not just the wrestlers. It's the fans. The fans, man. The vocal ones are absolutely the minority. That's for sure. And you see that in arenas and stuff. But it's this notion that 6-7 star matches is what wrestling is in 2023, and that we all have to just get with the times. Hokey pokey characters, corny characters like Bray just don't cut it in 2023. Speak for yourself, not for me, because Danny Garcia and Action Andretti and Wheeler Utahs and fucking 17 different variations of an Ali and a Drew Gulak, no offense to any of them. And if they get a character I one day give a fuck about, I'll give them another chance. But I'll put them in the back seat way before I put Bray Wyatt there. I assure you. Promise you. Don't speak for me. I don't give a fuck about your bangers and your clangers. I don't give a fuck about your 5, 6, 7, or even a 10-star match one day. I don't give a fuck. I'll take somebody who Melty gives 2 stars to as long as they make me feel some fucking type of emotion when they come through the curtain. Make me feel what they're doing in that ring and in that storyline and in that feud. Make me believe, suspend the disbelief. Make me do that, damn it. And we got yourself a deal. You got the deal, I got the deal. I don't need any more bangers and clangers. I don't need any more 5, 6, and 7-star matches. I've seen enough for the fucking 10 lifetimes. And that's why wrestling is on its fucking deathbed. Life support. But we'll keep saying this is awesome for every sequence and every high-flying flip and dive, flippity-doo-dah dive, the 640, 750, 960 inadverted hurricanrana, Canadian Destroyer, super splash slam from the top rope, and we'll fucking say fight forever, and holy shit, this is awesome! And then after the match is done, within 6 minutes, we'll forget all about it, because the next fucking flippity-doo-ha diggity-dive circus sideshow fest is already underway. I agree with The Undertaker 1,000,000,000%. And by the way, when he was asked about Vince McMahon, did he ever really think he stepped away? He says, no way. This is what he says about Vince. Vince was never staying away. If you know Vince, there was no way. In fact, he called me a day before he made the announcement, and we argued. Good hour, 2 hours. We just argued. Because I was like, there's no way. And he's like, yes, it's happening. And he gave him a million reasons why it ain't gonna happen. He'll be back. And he says, this was interesting, even in the role that he's in now, he just doesn't see him staying there. That tells you that he sees him, if he's not already, being more into creative and controlling the whole beast, the whole empire. It's exactly what BC's been telling you for the longest. Undertaker knows better than anybody, man. He says H is doing just fine at his job. It's Vince McMahon we're talking about. So, I mean, that's what I mean. Undertaker was so open to everything and so honest, so brutally truthful in this, man, and saying that he never thought Vince was stepping away. If you know Vince, you knew he was. BC told you that, and I don't even know him personally. I just knew this dude was not going away at all, not for a day. It was all optics. It was an illusion. That's why he put what we call a puppet regime in place. Nick Khan, his right-hand man, Triple H, Stephanie, his family. And that was the puppet regime. And when he came back with vengeance. He came back with his other fucking henchmen. George Barrios and Michelle. And members on the board got booted. Man, Undertaker's like, I don't even think he's staying in the role that you think he's in now. I think he's going to control the empire, man. So vividly outspoken in this interview. And then he delivers his Mount Rushmore, man. And I was interested to see who Undertaker is, to hear what Undertaker's Mount Rushmore is. He says this is the Undertaker's Mount Rushmore, his 4 dudes that he would put at the top of that mountain in the wrestling world. Andre the Giant, Rick the Nature Boy Flair, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and the immortal Hulk Hogan. It's so insane it's so wild how close Mark Calloway and BC Amplified, how close we think The Undertaker and BC. I almost have it the same. I have Stone Cold Steve, because he looks at his Mount Rushmore, and he told this to Ariel, the same way that BC does. There's so many ways that you could look at your Mount Rushmore. Are we talking athleticism? Are we talking, there's so many boxes that you could check off to formulate your decision. Undertaker is talking about his Mount Rushmore is based on who did the most for the business at the time, right? It's not like Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. That's why The Rock isn't on many people's. It's because he did a lot afterwards, yes, but he was only in WWE a limited amount of time, and the momentum was shifted kind of when he was gone. So a lot of people just kind of, Dwayne isn't really on it. But he puts it on people, what did they do when they were there for the industry? And that's why Stone Cold Steve Austin and Hulk Hogan, no matter how you feel about them personally, they are absolutely on BC's Mount Rushmore, just like Undertaker. Hulk Hogan, for those of you that didn't live in the 80s, early 90s, he was the guy who put WWE on his back. But there was a couple of others that helped him, man, helped carry the load, guys like Warrior, and guys like Randy the Macho Man Savage, which is where I replace Andre. And Andre had so much value to this business. If you're around 70s into the 80s, you have no fucking idea what this guy did, man. This was before BC's time, but I know how highly people spoke and still to this day speak about Andre. But unfortunately, BC has to put Macho Man Randy Savage into that third spot. Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold, Macho Man Randy Savage. I love The Ultimate Warrior, but Savage did way more for WWE in the industry. And my 4th would be Ric Flair with an asterisk. So I'm sticking with Undertaker on 3 out of the 4. Stone Cold, Hulk, and Ric Flair. I just switch out Andre for Randy Savage. My asterisk for Flair, if I was to really think about it, is a wild card. Sting from AEW, also WCW, and a few appearances in WWE. But Sting, Steve Borden, who played the character Sting, he doesn't get enough respect. He doesn't get as much love when we start talking about Mount Rushmores. But guys, if we're gonna talk Flair, Sting did so much for not just WCW, but the industry as a whole. In many ways, you don't even realize it because he was just mainly WCW. But if you only knew the stories, man, and how vital he was to keeping WCW alive just as much as Flair, most of the time. So my asterisk would be, Flair just edges him out, but I would have Sting right there in the conversation, man. Very interesting. Fucking awesome conversation, Undertaker. JR9 Gaming, thank you for recommending that. I forgot when that was, just a few days ago, I think you recommended it, and I was able to, in 8 to 10 minute spurts, I was able to finally conclude most of it. I think I did miss the last 7 or 8 minutes. Probably was the best part of the interview, maybe, but I missed it. I couldn't watch the whole 40 some odd minutes, but I was happy enough to get a lot of that in. And So I appreciate the recommendation. I knew that would not be a missed interview, man. You could not miss that. So when you said that they did that, I had to get the notes ready and really vividly listen, man, in 8 to 10 minute spurts. Now, I want to move on to the Bellas again. And by the way, we're hearing that Vince McMahon was not at Raw this week. So everybody blaming Vince McMahon. We talked about the ratings earlier. Anybody blaming that Vince McMahon's the reason that they were a 1-7 or the show was extra bad. Listen, he's got a phone still, so he could have easily been in contact with H, but no evidence at all that he was at Raw this past week. And people are claiming that when he was at Raw last week, he was mostly out of the way. So but what I want to do is, by the way, Great Muta has been confirmed for the Hall of Fame. From what I'm hearing, this just came up 3 minutes ago. So I'll do more research on that for the next Amped Up podcast. But for now, guys, Great Muta, and this is the story that we heard over the last 24 hours anyway, 48 hours really. But it looks to be confirmed. Now for the Bellas talk. You guys know, we put it up yesterday. We talked or earlier today, man. Part 1 of Amped Up. This is a double-decker Wednesday, man. I'll reiterate what I said earlier. We already put up an Amped Up podcast earlier today. We talked all about the Bellas confirming they're no longer with WWE. And this opened the floodgate for conversation of them joining AEW, guys. We went over earlier about Saraya Page getting into actual arguments, a little bit of a war with the fans, because all Page said was, "Welcome to freedom, ladies." And I guess passionate WWE fans were like, "Why you gotta diss WWE? What do you mean freedom? It's not a prison." And she was like, "Relax. I'm just saying, freedom. You had this contract for decades, and it's finally or over a decade. It's finally it's a release off your shoulders. That's all. I didn't mean anything to the WWE. Relax, you weirdos." So they were going back and forth, Saraya, and that's why I was like, man, why? How? If you're a talent, why are you going back and forth with fans, especially when this has to do with two individuals that just separated from another company? And you're already bringing, now you're only helping. Saraya's only muddying the waters. Now people are going, oh, this is just setting the stage for Bellas and AEW, or the Garcias. And then it didn't stop there, though, man, because then we found out that Britt Baker then started a little war between Britt Baker and fans. Britt Baker just put up a photo when she was younger of, I don't know how much younger. She kind of looks like Britt today, actually. But Britt and the Bella Twins, the Garcias, she just put up a picture, and then she retweeted her own picture with a comment, and she puts, "For real, there's not a single female wrestler today who wasn't somehow inspired, influenced by Nikki and Brie. Thank you. #role models." So this left a fan to respond, "You always throwing shit at WWE, even if it is in the most ironic way. Or are you going to tell me that you posted this photo randomly?" Britt Baker should never respond to that. Let them hate. Your value will go up. They're talking about you because you're the star. Britt Baker, just like a lot of AEW talent, just like Saraya just yesterday, last night, Britt Baker responds, says, and I quote, "What a horribly toxic take. You do realize I was a fan just like you, first and foremost. Twitter is becoming unbearable. This is nothing about WWE versus AEW. It's simply a post to honor two literal legends who inspired me and many others to be a wrestler. Have a nice fucking day. Smooch face." Why would you dedicate a paragraph of your day to somebody who's just fucking hating on you? One of the rules I have in this channel is we have a double respect for those that show it to the channel, and we show no acknowledgement at all for disrespect. We do not tolerate disrespect on this channel. Why do they do it on their machine, on their fucking interweb machine? Why would you dedicate a whole... Britt Baker's response was more than the fucking fan throwing the shade. That was only 2 sentences. Britt Baker throws a paragraph. You know, they say you gotta have thick skin for this business, man. A lot of these AEW talents, it's so thin. They're so fragile that they feel if they have to respond. And then she says, Britt Baker, and I love Britt, by the way. If you don't know, I like Britt. Even when Britt was taking so much unwarranted heat from the community, other podcasters and shit bringing a lot of allegations about Britt Baker and other individuals when we knew it was bullshit. And their fan bases would attack her. No, I was like, fuck that, man. I'll stay Team Britt because I know the real deal. I know people in AEW. A lot of them watch this channel, and they confirmed everything I needed to know, man. But I rock with Britt. But this is obnoxious. And for Britt Baker to say in this response, and I quote, Twitter is becoming unbearable. Then why are you on it? Why would you say something like Twitter's unbearable and then 2 minutes later jump right back onto Twitter? Why are you tweeting fucking paragraphs to numbnuts? Schmucks from Dumbfuckville in the state of stupidity. Why? You claim it's unbearable, but you stay the fuck on it. Unglue yourself from it. Find out that the world is actually much more of a bed of roses than spending the majority part of your fucking days into your fucking phone reading bullshit from people that just don't matter anyway. I wish especially, I'm not saying that WWE is clear from this talent, but it's 87% more in AEW, I've noticed. Where they just go back and forth. It's very amateur. It's very indie. It's like somebody who's on the indies, and any type of communication with a fucking fan would be helpful, beneficial to their stock. No, you're in the big leagues now. You can't respond to every motherfucker, and I wish it was more. If that's the case, respond to the people showing you love and respect. A lot of these individuals, they take something that they don't like or that they're so fragile about, and that's what they respond to. All the ones showing them love, they get nothing. It's amazing that now Britt Baker, add her onto with Saraya. So what's the optics? It's exactly what the Undertaker was saying, right? How they act one way on camera, and then on their social, they're a completely different person, and the lines are blurred, and we no longer believe in what the fuck we just saw on camera. We can't even suspend our disbelief because these characters won't allow us to, because they don't give a fuck about their own characters to allow us to be suspending disbelief. Hopefully that makes sense. I mean, Saraya is now a face. She doesn't like the heel. Saraya is a heel. Britt Baker is a face now in AEW. Britt Baker supposedly, she doesn't like what the Outcasts, Saraya, Tony Storm, and Ruby Soho are doing. But yet they're joining forces to take on the fans to show appreciation to the Garcia Twins, formerly known as the Bella Twins. And it all leads to what we know is going to happen. The Bellas are going to go to AEW at some point. They're already taking photos. They knew they would be leaked out. And they knew it would piss WWE off. If you know, guys, if you saw the earlier podcast, I went through an exact timetable. Reputable sources have confirmed everything I said in that video earlier. And I gave you guys how this happened. This wasn't overnight. This wasn't just a decision that the Bellas were like, I think it's time to move on. As simple like the answer that they gave us. No, there's been a timetable. There's been friction and tension between the Bellas and WWE. And BC breaks it all down a few hours ago in part 1 of Amped Up Podcast, part 1 from March 15th, 2023. Listen to that from earlier, guys, after this podcast, because I break down the timetable. This has been going on for a while. They knew that something had to change. They had those photos leaked out. Of course, Bree's husband is there, Bryan Danielson. Now more than ever, right? You got Renee Paquette over there. You got fucking Saraya. You know that the Bellas have been pitching a tag team opportunity in WWE. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you got to listen to that podcast from earlier, guys. You have to. I break it all down. I take you guys behind the curtain big time, and you guys are going to know why the Bellas were pissed at WWE and how the WWE ended up being pissed at them and how this deal ended up falling through and they did not resign. And they became the Garcias, man. Everything has been unfolding. If you've been paying attention, this is not too much of a shocker. And the next step for them, absolutely, is to do what WWE didn't allow them to do, and they're going to do it in AEW. The problem is, that is not what AEW was founded upon. They claim that they're an alternative, but you see Jeffrey Jarrett on TV every week going for titles or in big match opportunities, beating people he shouldn't be. Mark Henry's over there. Big Show is finally coming off a 1.5 year injury. Were you surprised that he just got to the roster, had maybe 2 matches, and he's injured? And he's coming back, and he says that he wants to have a string of matches with people. But we were saying the Big Show is exactly what AEW was going to be different from. And then when he got to AEW, tried and true diehard fans of AEW said, oh, no, it's going to be different this time, though. I'm a Big Show fan now. What? All of a sudden, the Big Show's relevant just because he's in AEW? Bella's got clowned in WWE, booed at the Hall of Fame. Trashed, said they have no business being on TV. And now watch, they go to AEW and there's going to be fans claiming they're legends, and this is going to be good for AEW. They're going to bring their babies around the locker room. It'll be a less tense locker room. They're going to go have average matches. That's not even shade. Trust me, if you listened to the podcast earlier, I said, man, much love and respect to them. For those that say that the Bellas got everything just because of WWE, not so fast. You still have to have a good attitude, an amazing work ethic, make the right decisions, work your asses off from sun up to sundown, and the Bellas have done that. The Garcias have done that. So I just don't go, oh, WWE gave you everything, and you're just going to turn your back, or you're just going to talk shit, or you're just going to go somewhere else like competition. How dare you? No. They worked. There's a lot of people that WWE helped make, and after they left WWE, they made all the wrong decisions. And they did not work as hard, and they didn't have the right attitude, and they fell to the wayside. And then they tried probably crawling back. But the Bellas did a lot of right things, and they worked hard, and they kept the right attitude. Much love to them, actually. No shade at all. But to act like they're going to help AEW wrestling be the alternative to WWE is bullshit. But we're going to act like this is an amazing signing. Look how fast everybody turned on Saraya. And most people say Saraya is actually a really good women's talent, right? Even after her injury and all this time off and the ring rust. And people still were like, okay, that didn't really move the needle much. This has already gotten stale. I'm just saying, like, keep that same energy that you had to the belt. If they go to AEW, I hope you don't change course just because it's AEW. I hope you keep that same energy. I hope you voice out, what the fuck? We're an alternative, you told us, Tony. We're bringing in the fucking Garcias? Couple of fucking moms? Some MILFs? You know, if you told me you're getting Mickey James or something, all right, BC is a little bit more on board, I feel. I'm pretty sure when you heard that AEW, this alternative brand was coming up, you never, guys, be honest, you never thought Jeff Jarrett, Big Show, Mark Henry, the Bella Garcia Twins, you never thought that those would be the ones being signed. The same people, if you put all of them together, we fucking bashed in WWE for justified reasons. Even if we have respect for them, it just didn't work. Now we're going to act like AEW is the best place for... But we know damn well that if the Bellas are going to be in wrestling, WWE is the place for it, right? Because AEW is supposed to be the alternative. If they go there, alternative to what? Are the Bellas going to have extreme exploding death matches? Are you going to see Brie Bella with thumbtacks in her fucking face and barbed wire marks on her back? Is Nikki Bella going to be fucking diving off cages? Actually, if that happens, I'm sold. Tony, do it up. I'm playing. That would be interesting though, right? The Bellows are in a fucking death match. Oh, then we've seen it all, guys. My name is BC Amplified. This has been Amped Up the Podcast with your host, BC Amplified. Part 2 of a 2-part double-decker Wednesday. This channel's rocking, bro. We are the ones. The rest, they the twos. Think, be lived, amped always. Until next time, guys. BC saying, check you. And you know what? Hold on. I want to see if one thing came up. 1 second, please, before I end this off. I want to see. Yes, I am getting confirmation that the Muda is confirmed for Hall of Fame, guys. That happened a couple minutes before I originally announced it, about 5 minutes ago. I'm seeing from a doubled source now, pretty reputable, Muda is going in. So you got Rey Mysterio, you got Muda. I don't know. It's a weird Hall of Fame, man. They're announcing shit just 3 weeks before the event with Rey. They're condensing it right after SmackDown, and they're cutting off a half an hour of it. I mean, this is just a weird Hall of Fame, but congrats to the Muda. He's a fucking legend, as is Rey Mysterio. Way more than deserving, obviously. They've earned that many moons ago. It's just a weird Hall of Fame, man. There's no, like, date announced, no time to watch it. We think it's just after SmackDown, obviously, but they're condensing it. There's been no, like, love put into the Hall of Fame by the corporate WWE masterminds, suits and ties. Masterminds I use lightly, by the way. Just a weird fucking Hall of Fame. By the way, NXT, I'm waiting on their rating to see what they pulled, but really good. Jer9, you'll appreciate this, man. The Grayson Waller, Johnny Gargano home invasion, that was just so beautifully done. That's the stuff I love seeing on programming. I said that about Dominic Mysterio, Rhea Ripley going to Rey Mysterio's place. And even if it's in a supermarket or a bar, or I've seen fucking on the side of the highway at a bridge, fucking Stone Cold and The Rock. Like, just, take it out of the ring. It doesn't have to just be in the parking lot or just in a street outside the arena. Get creative, man. I love what Shawn Michaels did there with Waller and Johnny Gargano. Gigi Dolan seems to be out with a rocket right now, bro. Sorry to hear about JC, by the way. That's a sucky situation with that injury. Hope she's back better and fucking kicking ass. Isla Dawn and your gal there fucking kicking ass tag team wise. I kept up on my shit, man. I just couldn't do a full review, but forgot to even mention that. Jer9, I'm sure you were happy with last night's show. Every time I checked in, it was captivating. I had to do a lot of other business, though. I was like, shit, man, this is good. So we'll see what their number is. But judging by the week, I don't know if wrestling fans are just like, I don't know. I don't know how there's this much wrestling fatigue going into Mania. The shows just have to be better, and that includes Dynamite, too, by the way, tonight. Canada or not. Canada will be raucous, but the rest of the world has to give a fuck. All right, that's it. BC, I'm out. Check you. I got to go get more coffee. I'm done, man. I nursed that shit. Check you. Aaron Rodgers is done. I can't believe this. I got to fathom this, man. I got to comprehend life with the Green Bay Packers without Aaron Rodgers. What the fuck? What a day. What a day. Check you.